You might have heard of a song called When the Drugs Don't Work. What happens when what we have been doing that has been making us feel good, that's been making us feel driven, that's been making us feel centered, poised, fully present, and with a purpose, suddenly doesn't make us feel that way? It's a bit like the same drug not working anymore, or the same trick no longer working. Some of you might find yourself hopping from one form of spiritual teaching or spiritual experience to another. Some of you might have had an interest in going to sacred sites, and then you go to one type of sacred site and then you want to move to another. Some of you might have been born in a particular religion and then suddenly you don't want a religion, or you choose to buy into another way or another belief system. Now, what happens when there is nothing that is coming out of any of these taps anymore? What happens when there is no more reading, there's no more learning, there's no more unlearning to do? What happens when everything stops? What happens, one, when the boredom kicks in? When you get sober? Yeah? So when you get sober, there are some of us who will enter into spiritual pursuits because, one, we are escaping. Some of us will enter into it because we are seeking. Some of us will enter into it because they are neither seeking, neither escaping, but it's a natural calling to find out, why am I? For some, you will neither be seeking nor escaping, nor even consciously be moving towards this as a natural thing for you, but it is something that will simply come to you. What happens when it no longer drives us, or we don't feel driven by a feeling or a high? What happens when you suddenly don't feel those tingles and sensations? It's a bit like you have a Kundalini awakening, you've had a Kundalini rising. Before you had the sensation, some of you will rock your body back and forth. Some of you will feel this butterflies, feel this vibration, the breeze over your head. So many things are happening. Now, what happens when all of those sensations stop? What happens when you go through all of this and you think, wow, okay, that feeling of that high comes down. Now you slowly and gradually, or for some of us, you drop down, you come back and you find your feet. You're suddenly facing yourself. When you have nowhere else to go, when you have nothing else to do, and this is one of the most crucial stages of a spiritual awakening, whether it has come about because you consciously went and sought it, whether it has come about because it came to you, whichever way it is, there is a time when most of us will go through, which is what we call Prabhupati. It is a time of great boredom, time when there is no highs or lows. It's a very, very, very almost dull, placid. There's nothing much happening. Some of us will get stuck or will feel stuck because we're so used to this momentum of highs and lows and something or the other happening. Some of us will feel, oh, maybe I'm not awake anymore, or maybe I've fallen from grace. Maybe I don't have these powers anymore. Maybe I'm not really, awake, or maybe everything I went through was not an awakening. Maybe it was something else. Now, folks, this is when we say you've done your microcosmic orbit, as long as it is a genuine awakening and you really have shifted a paradigm of your consciousness, as opposed to you having been through a mental experience, meaning that your mindset, right? So there's just been a shift of mental paradigm. Mental paradigms shift all the time. This is where you can make changes to your mindset. Those changes to our mindset are temporary. When you have a change of consciousness, or your consciousness morphs and develops, and there's a paradigm shift of consciousness, It's something that is more solid than anything that the mind can do, because the mind is a tool, right? So your consciousness is driving this tool. Now, do we want to change the tool, or do we want to change that which is making the tool do everything it wants to do? Yeah. So when you get back those reins, you know that, okay, I'm the consciousness behind all of this. Now, as long as you have gone through a genuine awakening, now you are at this stage of, there is no more excitement. There is no more of let's sit and chant. And even if you were to do it, you don't feel anything. Yeah? Now, this can happen because of two things. The first reason it happens is that you have become one with that which you were focused on. Your point of meditation, the meditator, and that which is being meditated upon, and the distance is no longer there, so you become one. Yeah. The second reason why this may happen is when you were almost thrill seeking. An alcoholic or anything, any of us addicted to anything. We could be addicted to people pleasing. We could be addicted to content creation these days. We could be addicted to so many things. Yeah. After a while, when it wears off, it's because we have become desensitized to that, and we are no longer getting excited by this. It's not giving us that hit anymore. It's a bit like, we keep ordering things. We are in that era of consumerism. So no matter how much you order, you still want to keep ordering things. Yeah, because what excites you is that click of that button. So there is a lot here, folks, but you know that reason it, because you'll feel it. There's a shift of consciousness. If it's a case of there hasn't been a shift of consciousness, and you just feel utterly bored about everything, but very bland, very flat, a feeling of flat. Now, don't confuse this feeling of flat with the feeling of peace, because that feeling of peace or that feeling of calm inside is not going to be seeking another adventure or another sensation. It is quite content with the status quo. It doesn't need to change. It doesn't need to shift. Whereas on the other hand, if it was a thrill-seeking experience, right? And it is when you've jumped from one sadhana to another, but we only know where we are when all the sadhanas have gone, all the spiritual practices have gone, all the tools have left us. Then where are we? Where are we without the tools? Where are we without the crutches? Yeah? Without the crutches, then we know. Has there been a paradigm shift of consciousness when there's nothing? You're nothing. You're just faced with the reality of whatever it is in your life at that point. Whichever way you're stationed in your life, where are you? Yeah? Whatever you're doing, the minutest things, the minutest details in your life, you will know. Has there been a paradigm shift? Has there not? Has it all along been me trying to escape something? If there really has been a paradigm shift of consciousness, when everything has been dropped, the tools have been dropped, the spiritual practices have been dropped, after a while, when you have become one with all that is, and you have realized all that is, you continue to live out of all that is. So there is not very little planning. There is really no thrill seeking, if any, because life itself is a big thrill. You yourself are a big thrill. You yourself are this big joy. When you are not in that and you're just feeling bland and you're feeling, well, what's the point of this? I went searching for this, so this thing came to me, and now I don't feel like anything. I feel bland, I feel numb, because I've realized, okay, what is the point of this? I know that this is a game. I know that this is a drama. Where is all of this going? And you will get your answers with a lot of self-awareness. Your self-awareness comes. It is always there, but you become aware of being aware of the self. Yeah, so you are literally stepping outside of the self and you're looking inside and you know. So there's a big difference, folks. See where you are. Are you with the tools, without the tools? See how you feel without it and ask yourself, am I staying with my tools? Are my tools always there? Have my tools become a crutch? Have my tools become a hindrance? Am I too reliant on it? Because when you come the other side, when there are no tools, there is nothing that we're seeking, we are fully there wherever we are, then a lot of things won't make a difference to you because there are no belief systems left anymore. You don't have any ideology, you're very open, you don't have any, in fact, you are so fluid, so flexible that it's very, very easy in a way for you to melt with whatever comes. And you can sit in a church, you can even sit in organized religion, you can go and sit in, with somebody who's not awake. There's no difference. There is no difference. You're just there. You feel it. Because there's a paradigm shift of consciousness which is very, very, very distinct from a mental exercise. And a mental exercise, as we know that everything is in the mind and things can happen from the mind. The mind can create a lot of symptoms to mimic those of a spiritual awakening, those of a Kundalini awakening, which is why, folks, when you don't know what Kundalini awakening is, or you don't know what spiritual awakening is, but you want to go and you want to experiment, either it is calling you, eventually it is all going to call you anyway. It's got to happen because we all have to make that full cycle that we are all in. It's sort of going back home because we are a self-healing organism. So it's not a case of, oh, but you're not going to be awake or that. And the polarities will cease to exist. There's no opposites, there's no duality, but there's no point me talking about this. So you've got to experience this yourself, and unless it is your own experience, please do not rely on anybody else to make their experience as yours. You have to experience this for yourself, and you have to yourself and realize, okay, where am I and what am I doing? Have I really experienced a paradigm shift of consciousness? Have I made my tools a new religion? Have I left religion or dogma but then created a new type of dogma or a new type of religion called the type of spiritual awakening that I'm having, or the modality through which you're having your awakening? Because, folks, it is all there. Awakening is not just for some elite or some sort of different sectors or sections of all of us. It is available to all of us because we all carry that same seed. But the question is of whether or not you have chosen that for yourself. Lots of love as always. May you realize that it was always you calling upon yourself.